of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are here to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by learning about what pleases Him, and what displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we can act upon what pleases Him and refrain from what displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second is we must bring the three keys into our mind, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, watching me and hearing me, and in this presence listen to the USTAAD who is giving the discourse. When one is in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one is truly connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and once they are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they hear what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through different stories, through different narrations, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to do. And the third thing is we come to this gathering with an intention to change. So maybe week upon week we have been coming to these Monday gatherings, and there might not be a change. So inshallah, let's make an intention right now that whatever is being taught, we take a lesson from there and we implement it into our lives. Whether that be a person needs a review with an ustad, maybe the journey is not going so well, and they need a review or a one-to-one with an ustad. Maybe this might be the solution. So all praise and thanks is certainly due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the owner and the master of everything in existence, and we ask and beseech Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His peace, blessings, salutations and love upon Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon the blessed family of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon the companions, and upon all the awliya and salihin of this ummah and previous. So just to reiterate one point, that we are to rectify our intention. Why are we here? We are here to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by learning about what pleases Him and what displeases Him. So first we learn, and then we make the intention to act upon. So if something positive is given, we implement this into our life. If a negative lesson is taught, like what we should refrain from, we make an intention to refrain from this. So the program of the evening will be first a naat will be played. There will be no naat played. So firstly, I request Ustad SHAFIQ to come forward and deliver the discourse. After the discourse, there will be a majlis of zikr. After the majlis of zikr, the program will end, and a person has the opportunity to see an Ustad for any problems that a person might be having. For example, if a person is not progressing on the spiritual path, or if a person is not leaving certain sins and they want to know how to leave them, then a person can see a qualified ustad who can help them and give them solutions on how to come away from whatever problems they're having. So this is the program. Firstly, the majlis of NASEEHA, i.e. the gathering of knowledge, then the majlis of zikr, i.e. the gathering of remembrance, and then after that a person can see one-to-one, and opportunities will be given to sit in a halaqah where they can learn about what is being taught. Jazakallahu khairan.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Fa'awzu billahi minna shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah Azza wa Jal, the creator of heaven and earth and everything that exists in between. And may His everlasting peace and blessings be upon His greatest creation, our Master Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah Azza wa Jal, who has given us life through non-existence and made us the best of creation. And then He sent the Anbiya as guidance, and He sent His beloved Quran, His own speech, for guidance. And we should keep ourselves connected to the Quran, and take counsel from the Quran and through the lives of the Anbiya. And I thank Allah Azza wa Jal for giving me the opportunity to sit before yourselves and to address you. And the Quran is the central focus in all the Muslims' lives. And we should take as much advice from the Quran. Sometimes after the majlis, you know, when we meet and greet each other afterwards, it saddens me greatly, you know, that we meet so many brothers that have so many different problems. So many problems. And the various, and they really bring you down. And obviously their problems vary, but you know, they go sometimes as far as people have very, very weak faiths to such an extent that, you know, they fear for their own iman. And they have so many other problems as well. And you know, when they listen to the speeches, and when they learn from the verses of the Quran, and the lives of the Anbiya, from the seerah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the lives of the Sahaba, we're talking about the ideal era. The time of the Sahaba was the perfect time, the best of people at that time. So, and on the other hand, you know, it's a stark contrast to our reality. Our reality is so, from the things that we talk about sometimes, the far removed. And we have to bring those two things together. Sometimes these two things are so far apart that it even feels like the Quran and Sunnah and, you know, or the religion, for some people, it feels like they're talking about a different reality completely. It's not even talking about my reality, about me. It talks like they're talking about some of the times. A lot of people feel that when they're hearing about the Sahaba, or when they're hearing about the great accomplishments that was made by the prophets, alayhimus salatu wassalam, and that some of these are such legendary superheroes, that they are so amazing, that these things are far removed from where I am today, and you know, nobody else knows this, and we are such below them people. So when you think that way, that when you think of them as superheroes and it's a great time, and then you look at yourself and then you think, I'm so below that, you know, this doesn't even apply to me, you know. So psychologically, it reduces that advice, whether it's from the lives of the Sahaba or the Anbiya or from the Quran. When you think it's a thing, you see, that's why in the introduction, the etiquettes, we always say, you know, take whatever advice is given us for yourself. Because the moment you think the advice is not for you, you don't benefit that way. So in the same way, if you're reading the Quran or the lives of the Anbiya or the Sahaba, and if you think, oh yeah, but they were such superheroes, you know, such legends, and they were superhuman. If you think of them that way, then you don't benefit, because you think, well, there's no way I can compete. So psychologically, it affects you. So it reduces the effect of the advice. And that's something like the kuffar at the time of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what they used to say. You know, they used to say, you know, when the Quran was being revealed, and And they will say, these are stories and legends of all time, of earlier nations and this, that, and the other. And that's what they used to say. That's the Quran is nothing but stories of all the legends and stories of other nations. And this is what the kuffar say. So this mentality, we should get out of this mentality, and that's what the kuffar used to say, that they're just stories. And unfortunately, even in our discourses, on Jummah and others majalises, we talk about the same way, and we disconnected ourselves, and we're made to feel even far distant from all this that's happened. So it's not just about us, this is about the people that are far better than ourselves, and people talk about them. So to give you an example, for an instance, in the case of the Sahaba, radiyallahu anhu ajma'een, if we give you an example of the Sahaba, in the case of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, and they're the great hero of Islam, and Hazrat Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu anhu, they're a great hero, and these are the heroes of Islam. And when it comes to spending, when we're raising money, when we're trying to raise money for a good cause, and spending in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal, to encourage people at fundraisers, we talk about people, we tell people to donate money. And then we give the example. And they always start with, they start with Hazrat Umar Farooq radiyallahu anhu, who gave, how much of his belongings did they give? You all know the story. Hazrat Umar Farooq radiyallahu anhu, he gave half of his wealth, everything that he had. And then, they felt that they had accomplished something, and Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, and they walk in and they give how much? They give all of their belongings. And you hear these things, and most people think, yeah, I should give too. So they give these examples. But there are a lot of people in the same gathering, will say, well, I'm never going to give half of my belongings. I'm never going to give all my belongings. I'm not going to give half of my wealth away. I'm going to give, all of my wealth away. And there will be people in the majlis like that. And by the way, it's not even fair. It's not even fair. Let me tell you why. Because you're not the only. Because Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq and Hazrat Umar Farooq radiyallahu anhu, they weren't the only Sahaba. There are thousands and thousands of Sahaba. And many of them didn't give half their wealth away. Many of them didn't give all their wealth away. So, but Allah Azza wa Jal spoke about them all, and He said, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an, that I am pleased with them and they are pleased with me. So even though thousands of Sahaba, there was 125,000 of them, out of them a few gave, but most of them just didn't give, or gave what they could. They didn't give all of their wealth, they didn't give half of their wealth. They gave whatever they gave. But Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying, I am happy with them and they are happy with me. In other words, what we do is we take the highest example sometimes to motivate people. And the highest examples we can find in Islam is sacrifice to motivate people. So we sometimes just find them to motivate. But we don't realize that some people are motivated by that. But other people actually completely get demoralized by it. And they say that's impossible. And that must be, for that era, it's not for me anymore. So they feel disconnected and it's not their reality. And even, before before I came on the tariq and this path of tasawwuf, of the spirituality. That's how I used to feel. You read about the awliya, and you read about the high maqams, and you read about the great awliyas, how they perform miracles and how they sacrificed, how they went into the wilderness and how they did this and the sacrifices they made and the stations they accomplished, and used to hold yourself in very high esteem. But if you look in this day and age, all we get is information about the fake peers. We get the videos and WhatsApps, and somehow bad news travels further. So, you hear about all the fake people, that are con artists and superstar sheikhs, and you hear about them. But that's the only ones we get to hear about. The genuine ones, you have to go out and seek them. And when you seek them, and you have to sit with them, and you have to learn from them, and you have to sit in the soba, and that's how you will know. So I remember when first time meeting Hazrat Sahib, I went to their office and I sat with them, and I said to them, look, I don't believe in all these sheikhs and this, that, and the other. And I says, they're all fake. So he says, you don't believe in awliya? I says, yes, I do, but only the ones in the books. Somebody, the awliya that lived 500 years ago, 800 years ago, they lived in the past. I said, they were the awliya. I says, nowadays, they're all money-making machines, and they're frauds. And they didn't get angry with me. This is the quality of a true teacher. That they explained to me, they said, so you believe there was awliya in the past, but not anymore? I said, yes. I says, now there is all, the name and fame and money and this, that, and the other. So there's no genuine. They said to me, they picked in the next to them, they had a kajur, a date, and they picked the date up. And they said, does this date, has it changed in the last 1400 years? In its texture, in its sweetness? I said, no. They had a chili next to them. They picked that up. They said, has this chili changed in its texture, or in its color, or in its strength? I said, no. They said, tell me something. Has Allah Azza wa Jal changed in the last 1400 years? I said, no. They said, has the Quran changed in any way? I said, no. Has the Nabuwah of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed in any way or shape or form? I said, no. They said, the way you pray, has that changed any? I said, no. They said, well, if all that hasn't changed, they said, if a scientist conducts an experiment and leaves you the formula, and you follow the formula to the letter, you'll get the same result. I said, yes. They said, if your great-great-great-grandmother made roti and you have the same atta, the same water, the same fire, the same tawa, you can make the same chapati. I said, yes. They said, in the same way, then, if you believe in the awliya of the past, they worship the same Rabb. They read the same Quran. They followed the same Rasul. They prayed exactly the same as you. They said, if you follow them, you can be as great an awliya as them. Or you could be even greater because you have certain advantages they didn't have. So I said, yes. So they said, okay, I don't want anything from you. I want to teach you. If you learn anything, you've gained. If not, you've lost nothing. So this is what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't remove ourselves. And when we hear about the Anbiya and we hear about the stories in the Quran, hear about the Sahaba, we shouldn't just think of them as superheroes and that they're far removed from my reality. This is 21st century and that was then, and what they achieved, but I can't achieve that. So the thing here is, how do we reconcile both these things? So if you study the stories of the companions, radiallahu anhum, the first followers of Islam's of Islam, right? And so what they did was they were followers of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you study their stories, you find one kind of story, you find lots and lots of different types of stories and lots of variations. You find people who made incredible sacrifices, and you find people that were struggling, you know, just as we are today. And Allah Azza wa Jal acknowledged and appreciated all of them. And Allah Azza wa Jal even talks about the degrees amongst the Sahaba ajma'een as well. You know, so Allah Azza wa Jal says, not our equal are those who spent before the conquest of Makkah and fought, and those who spent after. Those are greater in degree that who spent before, right, before the conquest of Makkah than those who had spent afterwards. So there is degrees even amongst the Sahaba ajma'een. But the point here is Allah Azza wa Jal is happy with all of them. Those that spent before and those who spent afterwards. But even their statuses are different. But Allah is happy with them. And then every one of them Allah promises the best. You know, Al-Husna, that Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, that I will give them the best. So what you do is you just do what you can. Do what you can. So there are people that are going to be able to do a lot more than you. There are going to be people who are going to do a lot less than you. But the bottom line is Allah Azza wa Jalla, like He promised the Sahaba, He was happy with them. He will all give them the best. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give you the best. You have to do your best. Hazrat Sahib once told me that nobody reaches Allah Azza wa Jalla in the state of perfection. Well, how is it that some people then reach Allah Azza wa Jalla and others don't? And the only difference is those that reach Allah Azza wa Jalla is not because they purified themselves to a certain extent that became perfect. No, it's just that they persisted. They did over and over again that all Allah Azza wa Jalla is looking for is my servant, is he trying. If he tries and tries and tries, and then Allah Azza wa Jalla accepts you. See, the point I'm trying to make is it applies different to us. It applies. So let's start from the beginning. At the very bottom baseline, right? It's very basic levels of deen that you all know at the 5 pillars of Islam, right? I don't have to give you a lecture on that. So the bottom line is the very minimum that applies to every single person is actually you stay away from haram things, right? Clearly those things are haram, just stay away from them. And make sure you fulfill the obligations that are clearly obligatory on you. So you have to do what you have to do and stay away from what you have to stay from. That is the bottom line. Now above and beyond that, you know, when a speaker speaks, there's lots of different people from different neighborhoods. From, you know, some people have been studying for years. Some people here know more than I will ever know. You know, there's, you know, USTAADs here. There's, you know, imams here. So what you have to do is, there's people here who just became Muslims, or the people who just come for the very first time, people who know very little. Now, so the crowd is always diverse. That's just the reality it is. And what we should do is, we should actually speak. The speaker's obligation should be to speak at the guy who is at the lowest. The guy who is almost thinking, you know, I'm not even a Muslim. He's hanging by his thread, his iman is hanging by a thread. That's the person's level you should be talking to. And that's the person you should reach out to. I mean, and I've met a lot of people, you know, who are like that. After the majlis, people do come and they say, my iman is so weak. There's people out there, you know, just their iman is hanging by a thread. There are people who are born Muslims but don't know anything about Islam. There's people with Islamic names that's all the identity they have. They don't have any Islam in them. So that's the people we should be reaching out to. You know, and when you start giving examples, like I was saying earlier on, about, you know, spending half your wealth or giving all away, when you talk about to motivate these people, the person's going to think, well, you know something? I wasn't going to give half away. I wasn't even going to give 1/100th of, you know, what you're asking. And that's too much to ask. So when you get to there, you know, it just doesn't seem fair on these individuals. People are running out of motivation when you give them examples like that. So even in khutbahs and majlises and things, the khatibs, for example, he has to understand, you know, the very basics. What are people looking for? You know, a person, you know, we have them in our majlises as well. After the majlis, we have a halqa. You know, there's not hundreds of people. There's 5-6 people in the halqa. And they learn, and the thing is, then they start attending some courses, Arabic courses, and they start listening to more bayans. They do a little bit of research. They go on this course, and they go on that course. And then is when you get to that level, then you should give them higher expectations. And then they should have higher expectations of themselves because they've learnt. But you shouldn't have these expectations and tell people that this is what they need to do. Now, nobody had a larger burden on their shoulders than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And no one in human history ever had it or will ever have that much burden upon themselves. And they had this burden to carry for 23 years, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And which is not a lot of time for what they accomplished. And yet, when they were sending people on a mission to spread the word of Islam, you know, they were telling the companions, make ease and don't make difficulty. There once a person came to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I would become a Muslim, but I don't want to read 5 times a day. And the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, okay, read 3 times a day. And he became a Muslim. And the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, how come you've told him you can read 3, you know, rather than 5? They said, don't worry. Once he starts reading 3, he will start to read 5 himself. They made ease for him. I remember this, you know, the English lady, she says, well, I go to supermarkets and I read the labels, I always buy halal, I do this, I do that, and I do all this, you know. And I said, well, she says, I'm virtually a Muslim anyway. So I says, why didn't you become a Muslim? She says, I don't want to cover my hair. That's why I don't want to become a Muslim. I said, Islam's not about covering your hair. Islam is about a belief. I said, your iman is weak. When you become a Muslim, you don't have to wear a scarf. But with time, as your iman increases, your taqwa increases, you become a better Muslim, you will willingly, you will put it on yourself as your iman increases. It's like somebody says, well, I want to become a Muslim, I don't want to have a beard. You say to him, beard is not Islam. Make it easy for him. You know, once you become a better Muslim. I mean, there is Muslims who drink, but just because they drink, they don't become non-Muslims. They're just bad Muslims. But when they become better Muslims and the taqwa increases, their iman increases, they will refrain from these things. So the Sahabi, Rasulullah said, read 3. And once they start reading 3, they were making ease. So the Rasulullah said, make ease for people. Don't make things difficult. Don't make things hard for people. And this was the instruction of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Sahabis. To tell people to submit to Allah and become better and become the best of examples. And, and submit to Allah. If you say to the people, this is what you've got to do immediately, no. One thing. That's why, as a teacher teaches us this course of self-purification, they don't say, abandon everything immediately. One step at a time. Make it easy for the people. That's why we say this course of self-purification is tailor-made and suited to each individual. They say start with one organ, something that you can manage. One organ at a time. And the zikr they give you minimal zikr to do. Minimal. Right? And then on top of that, now as you progress. Now over and over again, Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran describes the Prophet alayhi salams that they are bearers of good news and they are givers of warnings. Bashiran wa naziran. So the prophets are always giving these good tidings and their warning. They occur over and over again in the Quran. So they came to give you good news and they came to give you a warning. And you know about people who are trying to teach. So even when you're giving a lecture, if people are walking around and not listening in the classroom, people are not listening, harder things. So it becomes harder to keep positive and not to lose your temper. And so the Prophet ﷺ, they were given the missions to give good news first, to give glad tidings first, in order to give good news and be positive. And you have to stay positive, and you have a positive attitude when you're in front of people that are irritating you, agitating you. Still have to be positive, and this is how you spread the message of Deen. When you're out there, the dies, when you listen to people, and people who don't want to even listen to you, you have to be positive and give good news. You have to maintain that positive attitude, and that's not easy. If the only thing we're giving good news, it's easy. But good news to people who are just obnoxious or don't want to listen to you, they don't want to hear what you want to say, and to maintain a positive attitude is not an easy thing to do. And to give good news every time they were giver of good news, spread it. You have to be optimistic. You have to be positive, and then you have to do it, in your houses, in your communities, and you have to stay and be maintained to be positive. So it's same with mothers who tell the children, you better listen to your father, otherwise you're going to Jahannam. Mothers will say, the thing. What are you doing? You're giving negative thing. You're feeding them with negativity. You should be delivering the message of Islam with mercy, with love, to instill fear in people. People say, if you do this, I'm going to tell your mama. And the kids say, no, don't tell mom. Don't. This is the wrong attitude. Right? The prophets were told to bear good news. To bear good news, and continuously bear good news. And they were told to bear good news over and over again, and they became as warners as well. But they were told to bear good news, and then to warn people as well afterwards. Even in marriages, constantly, husbands will tell that you're going to burn in hellfire because you've done that, and why are you doing that? How can anybody do something like that? And then we say that to people as well. I'm not saying these warnings don't exist. I'm certainly not saying that, but I'm telling you that to give doom and gloom and to have people at large scale to lose hope, they will start to think that, I'm headed for punishment anyway. And once people start losing hope, they become convinced that they're heading towards punishment, and the doors to sin then are wide open. That's why when people lose hope, that's why they end up, what's the point anyway? I might as well go out with a bang. I might as well do everything that I want. People just lose hope if you just scare them all the time. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran that Allah has already purchased from the believers. In fact, Allah is the one who has purchased from the believers their money and their own lives, their wealth and their lives, in exchange for Jannah. So the ayah begins with a transaction, a business transaction, and in which Allah has purchased what? Allah has purchased our money, our wealth, and what else? Our lives. As He has purchased our money and our lives. And what we receive by selling these two things, what we're going to get in exchange? Jannah. Now, for some people who are at the highest level, you know what that means. That means they are going to in the battlefield. Now, for the Sahaba, that's what it meant. That Allah Azza wa Jal has bought their wealth and their lives in exchange for Jannah. So the Sahabi, he goes into the battlefield, he's going to spend all his money, he's going to go in the battlefield, and he's going to die a death of martyrdom. He's willing to sacrifice that. And that's the highest level of purchase. But is every single Muslim going into a battlefield? No. Right? But every single Muslim has sold himself and his money in exchange for Jannah. Yeah, that's true. So what is the ayah of the Quran is teaching us? That the highest expectation of this purchase is the ultimate sale is when a Sahabi is in the battleground. That's the highest, it's given the example of. But there are lesser purchases that too, is that because not everybody is going into the battlefield, there's going to be a mother who will never see a battlefield. There will be, Allah will purchase her life as well in the wealth. And in exchange for Jannah, yes, there will be scholars. Allah's purchased their lives, their wealth, in exchange for Jannah as well. Yes, what does that mean for them? What does it mean for someone who became a Muslim? What does it mean for someone who has been trying to do an Islamic work? What does it mean for a mother who is trying to raise a family? This ayah means different things to different people. This expression means different things to different people. Right? You have to understand what it means to you. What does it mean to you as an individual? And I will talk about the idea of the sale, what it means. The idea of the sale, buying and selling and trading. Human beings by nature, we love immediate transactions. What the Quran tells us is immediate transaction is, in other words, pay for something now and get it when? Now. Now, the only time we delay a transaction is when we say, I want the product now, right? Now, I want the TV. If you want to buy a TV, you buy the TV now, but you want to pay for it later. Yeah? That's the only time that we delay. So we want the stuff now, but we want to delay payment for it. In other words, we will pay over time and receive the gift or the purchase straight away. So, otherwise, if you pay now, when do you expect? You expect the stuff right now as well. So human beings are like that. They like to pay late and receive immediately. That's our nature, by nature. Everybody is clear about that. Now, in this ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal says, give me money and I'll give you life and I will give you, what is Allah giving you? He's saying, I will give you Jannah. So you give me your wealth and give me your life and I will give you Jannah. We like to receive immediately. We want it now. We like to receive immediately. Is Jannah coming immediately or later? So we're making a deal now. Allah is saying, right? Give me your life, give me your wealth, and I will give you Jannah. So as human nature goes, we want stuff there and then. So Jannah is going to come later. Right? When do you make the payment to Allah? You're making it now. And you have to make them one at a time, on time, and keep making them. You have to keep making this payment all the time. With the way you live, with the way you dress, with the way you talk, with the things you want to do and you can't do them because they're haram, with the money that you can't earn because it's impermissible a way of earning money, the money that you want to spend but it's not right way to spend that kind of money, and you're constantly holding yourself back because you're in a transaction with Allah Azza wa Jal. And every time you hold yourself back, you have to remind yourself, well, I'm doing this in exchange for what? For Jannah. But human nature is that if you are paying a price to earn something, you want to see it. You want to see it. See, when you work for 40 hours, you want to at least see a wage packet at the end of it. You know, after a couple of weeks, after a month, you want to at least see a paycheck. You're going to see, you want to see something. But what we buy, when Allah buys us for Jannah, do we see Jannah? And that's what we've so done it. But do we see Jannah? No. All we get is a verbal confirmation from Allah Azza wa Jal. I'll give it to you, trust me. That's all we get, nothing else. Allah describes it to you, tells you there's trees, there's rivers, there's fruits, you get married and you get hools and stuff. Do you get a catalogue or a picture or maybe a video, a short trailer? No, you don't. Right? You know, so we don't. Now imagine you get nothing at all, you get Allah's word. Now let this just stop here for a second, and if somebody came to you, right, a salesman came onto you and knocked on your door, and he said to you, look, I've got this real prime real estate place, and there's 50 acres there, and there's a massive big mansion, right, on that plot of land. Just, it's worth 50 million, but just give me $5 grand. Just give me $5 grand and it's all yours. But you can't have it now. You can have it in 20 years' time. You know, you're going to say, go away. You know? But Allah Azza wa Jalla is offering you a Jannah. When is Allah going to give you Jannah? Allah is telling you He's going to give you Jannah when you're 6 foot under, when the dirt is on your face. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla, when you're under the ground, Allah Azza wa Jalla will give you Jannah then. Right? When do you have to pay Him? You have to pay Him right now. And He says, trust me. Doesn't it take an incredible amount of trust? It does, doesn't it? So that's what you mean, that's what when you say we believe in the unseen. That's all our beliefs in Iman is, that we believe in the ghaib. Allah Azza wa Jal says this, trust me, I will give you Jannah. And that's what your whole Iman is, believing in the unseen. That's what it means to believe in and trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. It's not an easy thing to do, it's not an easy thing to say, it's not an easy thing to do. Right? But that's what it's all about. You know, on the other side, you've got the shaitan. Okay? On the opposite side, he's saying, listen, you know, I've got some amazing dunya luxuries for you, some pleasures for you. You can have them right now. Right? Just tap this, you know, tablet. Just click on here, you can get it there and then. You know, it's so easy. We live in the 21st century that you can have anything your heart desires within 24 hours from anywhere around the world at your doorstep. Just by clicking. Every temptation is just there. And the shaitan just says, click it, just click right there. Yeah? You know, you might get into trouble later, but, you know, it's not right now, you're good. You're good, you're fine, at least 20, 30 years. This is how the shaitan works on you. It's okay, just do this. And you could do tawbah afterwards. And once you've done it, then he whispers in your ear, what's the point doing tawbah now? You're condemned. Right? And this is what he does. But the thing is, he offers you immediate gratification there and then. That's what he's promised you. And it's very tempting, and it's very, very powerful what the shaitan does. He offers you there and then. And, it gives you immediate reward. So the shaitan, what he does, he makes a sale for one of us to do, and all he does is a shaitan is just a salesman. He knocks on your head in the door, and he whispers into you and says, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And instead of slamming the door shut on him, we say, yes, that looks very good. And we get tempted, and we become immediate customers. And Allah makes us a promise, but we don't see the product, so what do we say? We say, yeah, well, wait till Ramadan's coming. This is I always say the graveyards are full of people who said tomorrow. So people think, yeah, Ramadan is coming. So, we'll see then. But even then, when Ramadan comes, and we don't change, because Ramadans come and go, and we're exactly the same. But even when then during Ramadan, we don't change. Now, the same old habits. Now, we can't blame the shaitan, because the shaitan's locked up. These not waswases coming from the shaitan then. They're generated by yourself, by your bad habits and your bad characteristics. And even then, during Ramadan, we don't change. So I'm going to leave it here to go instead of continuing. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us the ability to believe and to work for the akhirah, because we're already sold our wealth and our lives. And if you're finding it difficult, and the thing here is, everybody's levels are at different levels. Like I was saying, it's different. Nobody's born a scholar. And we all have to start somewhere. And the course of self-purification helps you, because it's made in such a way that you can take baby steps, make a start, one step at a time, and then it gradually builds on that. So if anybody is struggling, alhamdulillah, the brothers will give you further information. If I've said anything that's inspiring, that is from Allah Azza wa Jal. And if I've said anything, and I always do put my foot in it, please forgive me, that is from myself. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you. Every time I get to do a bayan, I always struggle, because the thing with Islam and Deen, you want it to be informative. And you guys sat there, you want it to be entertaining. But Deen is not about entertainment. But that's what we want, that's what the nafs wants. You're not going to hear anything new. You've heard things before. But Deen is not about hearing, it's about doing. The point is, are we doing? And if we're not doing, then we need to hear again and again and again. So thank you for coming. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward you immensely for taking out the time and making the sacrifice and coming to the house of Allah Azza wa Jal. So may Allah Azza wa Jal reward you in this world and the hereafter.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khairan to Ustad Shafiq for delivering such insightful NASEEHA. So now we have heard that death is on our doorstep and we cannot go back. How do we make this time here, how do we make this time spent in goodness? How do we make this beneficial? How do we make the knowledge given, how do we put this into practice? For this reason, we have a course of self-purification taught here, known as Tariqa Muhammadiyah. For those who want more information regarding this, alhamdulillah, we say it after every majlis. So those who want more information regarding this, please come and approach myself after the majlis of zikr, and I can point you in the right direction of the ustads who will be leading the halaqah, and really make today, now, the time that we change forever. So if you want to know more about this, then please come and approach myself after the majlis, and I will point you in the right direction of the Ustaad who will be leading the halqa. The teacher of Tariqa Muhammadiyya, Hazrat Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh, is currently in Pakistan for a nationwide tour in key areas and places, from governmental to police force, from scholars, from conferences with scholars, and and the general public. And also there will be various spiritual retreats happening as well. So if we have family in Pakistan, please pass the message on. So, and please keep yourselves posted on the Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh Facebook page for all the updates. And for those who cannot sacrifice time or money, or they don't have the knowledge to give, then please like and share the post given to partake in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to give the message to people. Also, an international Dawa trip to Bangladesh will be taking place from tomorrow, and the main maqsad of this, there will be 2 spiritual retreats happening, one in the district of Sylhet and the other in the capital city of Dhaka. We are anticipating various people from all walks of life who are attending these, so please pass the message on to any family members over there first, and again please keep posted on the Sheikh Ahmed Dabbagh Facebook page to see the updates for this. A blessed trip to Umrah will be taking place on the 18th of March for 6 nights. To Palestine on the 18th of March for 6 nights. If you want more information regarding this, then please speak to Brother Saeed. Also, in April, there will be a blessed trip to Umrah taking place. If you want more information regarding this, please speak to Brother Farouk. So if you want to know about Palestine, please speak to Brother Saeed. If you want to know about Umrah, then please speak to Brother Farouk. Also, there will be a special healing majlis if a person is suffering from any illnesses such as headaches, any mental depression, any jadoo, any nazar, any problems with jinnats, or any general aches, pains. Then there is a free spiritual healing session taking place in Birmingham on the 31st of January. Please see Brother Umair for more details. Also, there is a ladies only spiritual unveilings of the Unseen retreat happening on February the 8th to the 9th, and this is for the daytime only. So anyone who wants to have more information about this, please speak to Haji Gufam. So if one of our family members wants to sit and we want more information regarding this, then please speak to Haji Gufam. Now I will hand the mic to Brother Naveed, and he will give his.
Assalamu alaikum. This is week 20 that I've been coming here and asking if anybody wants to have a chat at the end of the course regarding your course. Quite often we get maybe one person who comes over and shares, and it's very beneficial when he shares, but the idea is that we get small groups of 5 or 6, and when one person shares, the others listens. And when somebody's doing well, it inspires others. When other people are struggling, it also, by sharing with others, it motivates others. So please do stay. If at least 4 or 5 people could stay tonight, it would be appreciated. Jazakallah khair.
Now inshallah we'll be having the majlis of zikr, so if brothers can stand up, let some blood flow through to the legs and freshen up. So one thing that we can do now is rectify our intention of why we are here. We are here to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing His zikr and His remembrance. If we rectify the 3 keys, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, watching me and hearing me. And if we keep in this muraqabah, you've been obviously did. Also, for anyone who wants to see an Ustaad, if they are going through any problems, if they want to update their course of self-purification, if they are struggling, for new people and for old people, please come and approach myself after the majlis. I will take your names down to see an Ustaad. If you are struggling, if you have any problems, if you want to update, then please come and get answers for this. So if you can come forward, the brother at the back, please can you come forward and create a nice neat semicircle again. So Brother Qasim, sorry, can you come forward? The brothers at the front here, come forward. Actually, Brother Yahya hiding as well. Come forward as well, inshallah. Everyone at the back, come forward. Can we fill this space up here, please, yeah? Jazakallah khairan. Rectify the intentions and rectify the three keys. Jazakallah khairan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين والفريقين من عرب ومن عجم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأحوال مقتحم هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل حول من الأحوال مقتحم مولاي صل حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله نور محمد صلى الله نور محمد صلى الله حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله نور محمد صلى الله نور محمد صلى الله نور محمد صلى الله روح محمد صلى الله روح محمد صلى الله روح محمد صلى الله حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله روح محمد صلى الله ذات محمد صلى الله ذات محمد صلى الله ذات محمد صلى الله حسبي ربي جل الله ما في قلبي غير الله نور محمد صلى الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد 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 الله الصمد 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد 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 لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث يا حي يا قيوم 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 يا حي 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 محمد 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 صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا رب لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. يا رب لك الشكر كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Rahim, Ya Malik, Al-Akhirah. We are sat here for your pleasure, for your sake, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We will listen to some NASEEHA, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We will do some dhikr, azkar. We pray, Ya Rabbil Alameen, please accept our ibadat, our worship, our sitting, our gathering, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Reward us with this gathering of ours, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Send us reward as a gift upon Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the seal of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as a gift upon all the Prophets and Messengers. and upon all the Sahaba, and upon all the awliya and salihin, khususan upon all those brothers and sisters who know to make dua for them, Ya Rabbana. Please send us a gift upon them, Ya Rabbana, upon their souls and spirits. Elevate their status in Islam in the Jannah, Ya Rabbana. Remove any difficulty they may suffer in their grave, especially upon our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters who passed away, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Elevate their status and rank in the Jannah. Remove any difficulty they may suffer in their grave, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, these words, these teachings, this place, these centers are emanating because of our beloved teacher, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Please bless them, elevate their rank, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Give their hayat al-tayyibah, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and longer life, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Envelope them in your mercy, in your comfort, in ease, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Envelope them in your rahmah, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Protect them from every single direction, from your left, from your right, from front, from above, from underneath, from all directions, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Let not a single harm come upon them with this, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, for those brothers and sisters who will help them propagate the message, and for our spiritual brothers and sisters, elevate their status as well. Help them remove the difficulties and obstacles they're facing, Ya Rabbal Alameen, in their spiritual journey. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, indeed, our nafs is overwhelming us, shaitan is overwhelming us, our battle we're losing day by day, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, you are the most victorious, you're the one who gives victory, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Grant us victory over nafs and shaitan, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Help us to defeat him, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Help us to defeat him on mind level, on essential level, on body level, mind level, on heart level, on all levels, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, help our Muslim brothers and sisters throughout the world who have been oppressed in Palestine, in Afghanistan, in Burma, in India, in Kashmir. Wherever zulmat is happening, wherever oppression is happening, Ya Rabbal Alameen, please help them, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, for those brothers and sisters who are impoverished, who have no money, no help whatsoever, Ya Rabbal Alameen, struggling to eat and drink, Ya Rabbal Alameen, please grant them rewards and abundance of rewards in this world as well as Akhirah. Grant them with assistance, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Help our brothers and sisters who are suffering in Australia of the fires, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Please remove the difficulties they're suffering in their part of the world, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, such ease that we're in and such difficulty those are, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Please don't harm others because of our evil, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, don't harm others because of our evil, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Forgive us and forgive them, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Help us to be good to one another. Help us to look after one another, fulfill each other's rights, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Rahim, you're the most merciful, most kind. At the time of our death, help us to die with Iman and faith, Ya Rabbal Alameen, and resurrect us with their pious and the righteous, Ya Rabbal Alameen, especially with our beloved masters, our Mashaykh Sayyidina Ahmad Rabbar, Sayyidina Abdul Jabbar, Rahmatullah, Sayyidina Qadilana, all the Mashaykh Muhammad, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala khairi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi, Ameen, wa rahmatullahi.